Michael O'Leary, and I watch All About Sport on Cavan TV. So should you.
Get the auto cue going. Hello and welcome to All About Sport on CavanTV.com, coming to you live from the Top of the Town studios in Cavan Town, sponsored by DrumlinMedia.com. All About Sport is Ireland's first live web TV sports programme with nearly 2 million views in 216 countries worldwide. I'm delighted to be back with you on All About Sport, and tonight I am joined by Cavan Baseball Club, Cavan Comets, who are going from strength to strength since it was established back in 2005. But joining me from Canada is players Gary and Nick Pennington and the current manager, Adrian Kelly. So you're very welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Louise.
Adrian, you've been very busy since we last spoke on All About Sport, but give us a little rundown how things have been going with the Cavan Comets.
Sure, we've been busy. The team's developed a lot of new players have come in. With baseball teams, they have 9 players that actually play the game. We've a roster of about 25, 26 players, which is fantastic. It's probably bigger than it's ever been, in fact. And it's just great to see the interest growing in Cavan.
Which is great. So at the moment you're in the middle of your league? Yeah,
we are. We're actually coming to the end of the league. We've got 2 games left in the regular season. If we win those 2 games, then we're into what's called the playoffs. The playoffs are it's a knockout. It's like championship football. It's knockout after that. So out of the 5 teams in the Northern League where we are, we have 3 Belfast teams, an Ashbourne team and ourselves. We're currently 3rd in the league. And if we maintain that position, then we'll get through to the playoffs as top 3. And then there's a Southern League, and we play the winners of those for the All-Ireland Championship in the B League. Last year, a couple of players actually, we won All-Ireland medals playing in the A League, myself and 2 other players, Forrest and Paul as well for the team. So it's been an exciting time for us.
It really has, yeah, because we first spoke back in, I suppose, about 2-3 years ago. You know, how has it developed, or the interest in baseball in Cavan been, received?
Well, I think it's about letting people know we're here. Which can be difficult at times. You're competing with a lot of other sports. Kids of 13, 14, 15 are into all sorts of sports, and trying to get them to focus on one is difficult. There's particularly, GAA is huge, obviously, in Cavan, and it's just about reaching out and letting parents know that we're here, and it's an alternative sport for kids because it's a total different skill range from traditional Irish sports that are available.
Which is great. You have some visitors here with us tonight, and we have Gary Pennington and his son Nick Pennington. So we'll start with you, Nick. You've been spending the summer here in Ireland.
Yeah, I've been here for the past couple months now. So
you've been highly involved. You got involved with the Cavan Comets.
Yeah, a couple months ago when I first got here, I started going out with them. Just kind of ran into them through Dad and Adrian, and it's been really good.
Great. And you yourself play and have grown up playing baseball in Canada. You're from Vancouver.
I'm from Vancouver, yeah. I started throwing a ball pretty much before I could start walking. So I've been playing for as long as I can remember, and so.
How would you, obviously baseball is such a huge sport in America, but how do you find the difference here playing, with the Irish teams?
A lot more people play in Canada and America, so just growing up throwing the ball, it's just kind of a given back there. But when you're coming over here, it's a bit different. Like GAA sports, there's not throwing in them really, unless you're playing rounders. But it's just a different kind of skill set. But people here are picking up really well.
Great. You've both been busy with. You've been involved with the Irish team over the past few weeks. Is that right, Adrian?
That's right. The Irish team are preparing for an international competition, which is actually running this weekend. The first game started this evening. Actually, it was a game against the Irish national team versus the Mexican national team. So as you can imagine, the Mexicans are quite good at baseball. They have 123 million population, so they've got they sure do. So myself and Nick were kind of involved in the preparation games. We played for a team called the President's Nine, which is kind of like the Irish B team. It's for players who don't have Irish passports and whatever else. So it's quite a high standard, and we were lucky enough to play 2 full games against them quite recently. The last of which was last Sunday night. which was the final prep game actually for this weekend's games against the US and various other teams.
How did you enjoy that, Nick?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was great getting out there and seeing some of the guys.
Yeah, so what a great experience. It's something to bring back home to Canada.
Absolutely.
Tell all your friends back home.
Exactly.
Funny enough, the Irish team actually, they have a lot of American players that have Irish ancestry. So there's a number of players that flew in on Sunday morning for the week to play the tournament from San Francisco, New York, different places. They all played on Sunday, so it was great to see that sort of standard. These are guys that actually play a lot of baseball back in the States, you know, so that was a good experience.
Brilliant. So that was taking place, that's the international tournament.
That was actually the prep game was in a place called Corky Park in Clondalkin. That's where the home of baseball is at the moment.
That's right. I know we've looked at a video before from Corky Park. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but we'll come to you, Gary. You're Nick's dad, but you've been involved in baseball for
70 years, I guess.
70 years.
70 plus.
Wow. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your background. Well, first of all, tell us what brings you to Cavan.
Well, because we have Mulligans in our family background, our history. So we came here about 5 or 6 years ago, fell in love with the place, so we come back every summer. And the connection with baseball, I was in O'Leary's restaurant, I guess, in Coot Hill one day, and baseball came up for some strange reason, and someone said, well, go to the butcher next door, and there was Adrian's father-in-law coming out, and we went from there. And
really?
we
just like that?
It was
just chance.
I had no idea that baseball was in Ireland.
That is remarkable.
It is.
That is what the beauty of Ireland, that
it is.
everybody somebody
That's
knows
right.
somebody.
That's right.
But you said you've been playing baseball for 70 years.
Yep. I was.
He doesn't look it, but he's pretty fresh.
I was just thinking that could be right.
And as a young boy, I was just taken by the game and played and went to the States on a scholarship and played down there and played some semi-pro ball and pretty well played all my life, and still play,
Right, and still playing.
Yeah.
It's not, remarkable, fantastic that you still enjoy it so much, and
I do.
And it's a sport, it keeps you fit, obviously.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, Nick, is he still as good? You know, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with him.
We all are.
He'll teach you a thing or two.
Well, I've enjoyed coaching here, and I found that compared to a lot of kids in Canada and the States, the young people here and the older people too are very keen to learn, which is really lovely. You know, I tell them that too last night at practice. I said, listen, it's a great attitude you got here because you're keen to learn and to absorb the game. Yeah.
So it's brilliant to have, your calibre coming here to Ireland, come to Cavan, to, I suppose, give that back to the children and to all the players.
Absolutely.
Adrian, that's, fantastic. You would go a long way to find that. So
yeah, absolutely.
You
couldn't get coaching like that here in Ireland. Really, that sort of experience. And Gary played a bit of pro ball back in the day as well, so he played at an extremely high level. And Nick's played at a really high level in Canada as well, like top level, under 21.
You're very modest.
Well, you know, the thing you mentioned too is we're hoping to bring some people here next April from Canada and the States and maybe even Australia to play in a bit of a series, but more importantly to share the game from our background. So we're planning that with Baseball Ireland and with Adrian and others.
That's right.
So exciting things to come.
That's
so
right.
there is. That is great. And so you're saying you've been doing little training camps while you've been here. You've been getting involved.
Yeah, we practice twice a week with the Comets and have a great time as we did last night.
That's
and
right.
Have a lot of laughs and. I think the one thing is this thing which isn't a slither, which is baseball.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah,
it is similar. In fact, there's some suspicion it might even be the forerunner to the baseball. Way back in the 1800s. But I think the one thing that Nick and I feel is that there's a lot of fine athletes and sportsmen in this country, the young people included, of course. But what they haven't done a lot of is throw the ball. There's no game where they really are conventionally throwing a ball, which is different. As Nick said, when he was, just walking around, he's throwing a ball up the stairs. And so that's the big thing, I think, is to throw and catch a ball a lot. And when you do that, it's going to really come out of it. So it doesn't matter what kind of ball, whether it's a tennis ball or this kind of ball or a slither, to throw it and catch it, that's going to be huge. And so your schools here, your school, where you teach or wherever, that's the great thing. In fact, I've said to teachers along the way, give a child not only the pens and papers and so on, but give him or her a tennis ball to put in the pack. Take it every day at school and throw it in the schoolyard. You're going to get good. Yeah,
as opposed to a football.
You don't need all the things. Everyone can find a tennis ball somewhere.
Sounds
and
great.
throwing and catching that, it's great fun. And the tennis ball's soft enough, just not going to hurt you.
That's right.
And it's just, and that is the answer, because the young people, to get more and more young people playing this game is really the answer for baseball to develop in Ireland.
How has the uptake from younger children? You know, I know you came to our school in Dernakesh, Modjabon, and that was a great success. Children absolutely love that, but we hope to see more of that in the future. But you know, how has it been received?
Well, at the moment we have an adult team. We did have a little league team that started back in 2005, and we hope to develop more younger players playing the game, because that's the future really of Cavan baseball. We're quite isolated. We're the only team between Dublin and Belfast, so it's important to kind of, you know, keep those players coming through. And we're having a baseball camp on Saturday the 12th of September at the rugby club here in Cavan, and that's for players as young as 4, you know, up to 9 or 10 years old.
Great.
And so it's, you know, it's 5 years ahead, and you know, it'll be a 2-hour session, and we'll have a number of coaches there, and you know, it might be a good introduction for kids to the game. So if parents out there want to bring the kids along, more than welcome.
And that's taking place on Saturday, the 12th of September in Cavan Rugby Club.
That's right.
And I suppose if people want to find out more details, you have a Facebook page, Adrian.
That's right. So it's facebook.com/Cavan.Comets.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you get us there.
And you can, any more information, they can contact us here.
Absolutely.
So back just to the national team, and the international tournament was running this week. Both of you were involved in, you were saying, the preparations. I mean, is there many different games? Is that finished up now? Or
no, it's only starting this evening. It runs till Sunday. So it's kind of a round robin, so they all play each other. So we've got the Netherlands, Belgium, and the US are represented by the US Navy. Actually, have put a team in.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, the Rota, the Blue
the
Devils.
Rota Blue Devils. They're based in Spain.
So they're here as well.
They're here as well.
Oh wow.
And Mexico, of course, and the Irish team. So have I missed anybody?
Belgium. Netherlands, Mexico, and
that's
the
right.
US
There's also a Venezuelan team actually, which is made up of Irish players Venezuelan players working in Ireland that are playing this afternoon against Mexico.
Venezuelan players working in Ireland.
Yeah, that's right.
Unreal. Right.
That's right. So
quite
an international tournament.
Did they come on the boat?
They're here a while. Some of them were here 10 years or more. You know.
Really?
You know. Yeah. So a lot of the players in Dublin are Venezuelan, Cuban, American, Canadian. You know. So I mean,
it's very international sport.
We played on teams where there was no Irish players. Like in that prep game 2 weeks ago, I was the only Irish player on the field. Believe it or not, against you, you know, for the P9 as they call it, the President's 9. Funny enough.
You've really grabbed this, your love for baseball and just ran with it, and you've done such great work, Adrian. You know, from when I first met you, but not only, I suppose, as a manager and promoting the sport, but even just your own skills. How do you find you've kind of yourself as a player have improved? Well,
that's an interesting question. The throw on a lot was a challenge. I started when I was 36, so you can imagine I was very late starting.
Yeah.
But even people that are out there that are that age, I'm 39 now. That want to try something new, that are finished up playing soccer or Gaelic football. This is an ideal sport because you don't have to be super fit for it. There's a position for everybody, and if you've good hand-eye coordination, particularly if you've played hurling or anything like that, this sport can really suit you. We've got some guys that have come in recently that can really hit the ball,
That boy last night was amazing.
Absolutely. But for me, it's just about repetition, practice. I've been doing it 4 years now and training really hard for those 4 years, So I guess when you like something, it's not work for you. You enjoy it and you get better,
Yeah, Louise, some people think of baseball as really complex, but it's really very simple. It's as simple as a father and son, or a mother and daughter, or whatever, getting a ball and playing catch. Yeah. And the simplest thing, in fact, perhaps one of the oldest things in history, really, whether it's with a rock or whatever.
That's right.
But you're throwing something and just catch it, and there you go.
That's right.
A game of catch is what it's about.
And we've had, speaking of developing players, we've had several players who've played for the Irish national team from Cavan over the years, at a juvenile level and senior level. Paul Coombs, our team captain, who was on the last day with me, he was a regular player last year. Forrest Pearce, Andy's son, who set up the team, Andy, he played regularly with the Irish team as well. So you can develop quite quickly the more you play, the more you push yourself, and for me it's about pushing yourself into those games where you are up against a higher standard. You have to improve. Yeah. That's the key for me. Showing up and trying to get a game with the better guys. That's how you improve.
So Nick, obviously your first love is baseball, but you've done a little bit. You're traveling at the moment around the world, and you're having a little taste of other sports as well.
Yeah, I played soccer in university back in Canada. I kind of put baseball on the back burner for a few years, and now this is a good way to get back into it. But I'm also traveling the world a bit. So
You're playing soccer here though too.
I played for the Cavan team here actually as well. So just they're getting into their season now. So I played in some of their preseason games.
So you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been very busy with sport here.
Yeah,
It's
so
been great.
You're proud of him, are you? And
I am. In fact, he could certainly do this as a profession if he wanted to put time into it. But,
Yeah.
Was that interest to you? Is something you think you'd like to do? You're still young, so you've
Somewhat young, potentially.
younger than us.
He can catch any ball, and he's got some skills that people would die for. So
Absolutely. Watching Nick play has been a lesson to us all on how to play infield and outfield. So it's been great having that sort of standard around the team, because we can all kind of inspire to improve, ourselves.
Great.
Yeah.
So Gary, when are you returning to Vancouver?
we go back in about a week's time, and we'll stay in touch, obviously, with Adrian and Baseball Ireland, and look forward to returning hopefully in April for a couple of weeks with a mob of Canadians and Americans and maybe even some Aussies, and so want to certainly continue our very happy relationship here with baseball in Ireland.
So we'll have to come back on and tell you the plans early next year.
And so Gary, when I have you, because God knows when I'll get you here again, what's been the highlights of your baseball career?
Highlights of my baseball career? Well, I suppose getting being brought up in a place where there was actually no baseball facilities, and not having my first baseball uniform until I was 14, which is late in that country. And then within 4 or 5 years, getting offers to sign with the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, oh wow.
And then saying, no, I should get an education instead.
Yeah.
And so going to the States and playing down there for 4 years, and then going to spring training down in California, but getting a couple of injuries which ended that part of my baseball career.
Yeah.
But then I suppose continuing the game through the rest of my life in the States, Canada and Australia was a great experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great story to tell. That's
fantastic.
fantastic.
And lots of stories along the way. I play now in the Seniors World Series every year in Arizona.
Oh, right.
And they have 350 teams come from all over the world to play. Yeah. And the standard is amazing. And Nick and I have played down there in father and son.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And we're hoping to maybe do that again this fall.
Sounds great.
So it's a bit of a lifestyle, and when we're out there, I've said many times, there's no place I'd rather be than on a ball field.
But isn't it brilliant? Because a lot of other sports, when you hit your 30s, it's
right.
It's finished. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I have a lot of sports people come in here and they're taking up the cycling, triathlons. Yep. So this is really something that I'm sure if a lot of people find out about really would love to get involved.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it's such a great, it's a great sport to watch, and obviously a very enjoyable sport to
and learn also. I mean, because there's lots of baseball on the TV. People go to America regularly to get to learn a sport. There's no way better than to actually play it. And if nothing else, you'll learn the rules and you'll be able to enjoy watching a game. Yeah.
We love your other sports here too. We just did the kayak run here this.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Nick did the run, and I survived the kayak, and our neighbour did the cycle, so we love that.
I have not braved that yet, but they do great work, the kayaker run, and
it's super.
for good cause.
Many things,
so you enjoyed that.
And the run for cancer was the walk for cancer the other night was brilliant too. So all good things there.
Great.
And we should mention our sponsors as well. You see the new jerseys we're wearing, courtesy of Ronan O'Brien solicitors here in Cavan Town, and also Sean Clancy has been a big supporter of us in Foley's in New York. So big shout out to those guys.
Oh, right. Yeah. And a good sponsor to have. Yeah,
that's right.
Brilliant.
That's right.
Well, they're lovely, and you've got your
the equipment. So this is an aluminium baseball bat.
Yeah. Aluminum, you say?
We say aluminium.
I know.
Aluminum.
What do you want to say?
Did you call it aluminum?
Aluminum.
That'll be that. Yeah,
that's American saying.
So we use this in the Cavan League for the A League and the National League. Do you only use wooden bats because you can't hit it as far with a wooden bat as you can with a metal bat in theory.
It's too dangerous to use metal bats in higher leagues.
Okay, dangerous.
Yeah.
The ball comes off that bat so fast, it's amazing. Well, there's a fellow hit me in the ribs last night.
Invested him with a ball.
We're using a aluminum bat.
I was using that, I
was pitching batting practice and suddenly, wow!
Yeah.
So that it is a dangerous thing. That's why they've outlawed them in higher leagues.
Okay, right.
It is.
You can get away with it with.
Well, this is the bat we play with in the league in Cavan, so
so
you can play. Yeah, so
great.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've compared the what do we call this?
It's a baseball.
The baseball.
To the slither.
Just, that's what I was going to say. So how similar they are, like.
Yeah, the Slither's got the raised seams, and this one's not quite as raised as much, but essentially the same ball.
Yeah.
What amazes us is that your hurlers catch it in bare hand, and
that's right.
it's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Hit
Yeah.
it with that thing.
There was a show earlier this year, actually, on TV3, The Toughest Trade, and it was about Jackie Turrell, who plays for Kilkenny. And he went over to the States to play baseball for the Miami Marlins, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was in the outfield, not using the glove and catching baseballs barehanded, and they were just amazed, you know.
Because of
the hurling. That's right.
Have you watched the hurling? Because it is so skillful. I suppose I say a lot of hurlers probably could kind of.
Certainly their catching skills are good, and they'd have to learn to throw.
That's it. We're back to that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Nick, you didn't have a chance to try some hurling while you were here?
I didn't, unfortunately. I used the hurley and had some swings with that.
Like Coot Hill, that's where they have quite a good hurling team up there. So next time.
Next time
And you've got the glove, which
is the glove here. Yeah, it's probably like an infielder's glove. There's different type of gloves for different positions.
Yeah. Can you catch the baseball if you want with your hand, or does it have to be with the glove?
Yeah, you can catch it with your hand.
Yeah,
you can catch it with anything really.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe that's one thing, that some of the catches in baseball are absolutely amazing. You know, over the fence or diving full out. I mean, that's one of the.
Yeah.
Someone yesterday said that they would rather do a diving catch than hit a home run.
Yeah, really.
So, I mean, there's such a thrill to it when you catch it that way. You know, it's very, very acrobatic.
That's an interesting point, because there's so many ways you can contribute to the team during the game.
Yep.
You can hit the ball, you can catch the ball, you can tag people out. There's lots of different little kind of successes.
The subtleties of the
That's
game
right.
are amazing. It's very
unlike soccer, where you score a goal, you don't score a goal.
Yeah.
Okay, you can good passes, bad passes, but there's so many little victories.
You can contribute by walking, by doing this, by doing that. There's dozens of things you can do to help your teammate. You help your teammates. I mean, just simply by saying, "Hey, I got the ball, or you got the ball," or whatever it would be. Just quite amazing game.
Yeah.
That's right.
Complex but simple.
It is. So hopefully they have these exhibition games coming up in spring 2016.
Yeah.
So really we'll have to.
Absolutely.
We'll
get back on and we'll talk about that before the time. Absolutely. We should mention as well the Greystone Mariners, who played a few games for. They're the current All-Ireland champions. They're an A-League team, so they've been good enough to have myself and Nick and some other players from Cavan over the last 2 years, and it's been a great experience for us, because a lot of those guys play on the national team, and it's a higher level again, and they've been very good to us, so they'll be playing in the playoffs this year, and I want to wish those guys luck as well, and hope to contribute if we can.
Great, brilliant. Well, Gary, Adrian and Nick, thank you so much for joining me on All About Sports. Pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure it's not the last we're going to hear from you. Hopefully we'll have you back in the spring.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Louise.
Thank you. So that is it from All About Sport for this week. I will be back at the same time next Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. If you'd like your sport featured on the show, simply contact drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So it's goodbye from me and the Cavan Baseball Comets. Goodbye.